Sephiroth is the centerpiece of contemporary black sacrifice decks, a character and archetype both beloved by fans. In this guide, I'll show you 5 simple ways to up your game without losing the heart of the deck. What we've got here is a really basic Sephiroth deck. Essentially, this is commons, uncommons, Sephiroth. Very straightforward. You go into an arena, you get all the cards that seem like they would make sense in a sack outlet, death triggers type deck, and you just jam them in until you have 60, and then you're good. There's nothing wrong with a deck like this. It's fun, but it's not going to get you to Mythic. You're going to lose games that you could feasibly have won if you just put in a little bit more effort in the deck building stage. So what I'm going to show you is 5 things that are just relatively simple to do to the deck in the deck building stage without completely abandoning this and, say, putting Sephiroth into a mono-black mid-range deck or switching to some kind of weird other control thing. So number 1 is protect your Sephiroth. This can be as simple as just slow rolling the Sephiroth, not jamming it on turn 3 to have it die to a piece of removal without even triggering any of its effects at any point. People are going to identify what your deck is really quickly, and if you don't at the very least get the enters trigger off of Sephiroth, you're absolutely wasting your time. So don't play Sephiroth until you have something to sacrifice to him. Fairly simple, but also add some protection to your deck. This can be in the form of target creature gains indestructible type effects, but also for this type of deck you can play protection that is in theme. Not Dead After All is probably the single best piece of protection for a deck like this because it actually just accelerates your game plan when you're not baiting out cards from your opponent. And Undying Malice is in Foundations for when Not Dead After All inevitably rotates in a million years. You can look at both of these cards as additional copies of your Freebooters and your Infestation Sage. They go fantastic as turn 2 plays where you've gone turn 1 Freebooter, turn 2 Not Dead After All into a Corrupted Conviction, and then turn 3 you've got a Freebooter and a Treasure, and you've drawn cards. And either your Freebooter is bigger or it's got an extra rectangle on it, and you can play Sephiroth on turn 3. You can actually jam it at that point. And potentially, if you've still got the treasure from Greedy Freebooter, you can hold up a second 1-mana Death Flicker, as it were, to protect the Sephiroth when your opponent untaps and tries to remove it with some sort of destruction-based removal. Alright, and we're sitting at a point now, they have nothing, we have functionally nothing. They have 2 cards, we have 2 cards, but of our 2 cards, one is Sephiroth and one is Not Dead After All, which means we can protect our Sephiroth. I could have attacked with the Infestation Sage and plinked for 1 additional damage, but I didn't. And because this costs 1 mana, I can now play the Hexmage and make my 1/1 into a 1/1. Get lost. If they have a second piece of removal, this gets through it, but, boom. You love to see it. Number 2 is a thing that I still forget when I'm putting decks together, and I mean, I forgot it in the sample deck that I included at the start of the video, which is you always need to play at least 2 playsets of removal. It doesn't have to be a big board clear, it can just be single target removal. In black currently, the low rarity stuff is a bit iffy because we've lost Go for the Throat, but Bitter Triumph is absolutely worth the 3 life to be just unconditional removal for creatures or planeswalkers. And I really genuinely believe that if you're playing a mono black deck, you should be playing Feed the Swarm, because black's inability to remove enchantments is absolutely a thing that people will take advantage of. You're going to get Heartlight Containmented. Just any basic Oblivion Ring effect is going to be incredibly powerful versus you in a way that it's really not supposed to be. So 2 pieces of removal, but no ramp is rough, but yeah. Oh my god. It's really tempting to Feed the Swarm. That's turn 2. Boom. You love to see it. We must keep them below 27. Number 3, and really hitting the midpoint of our complexity here, is play a second color. An underrated part of Sephiroth's strength is the fact that he only costs 1 black pip. As the people in the comments of my Archenemy's Charm decks will tell me, being locked into mono black is a handicap and a thing that you should revel in the ability to have some of that freedom. Being multicolored opens you up to just additional effects. It gets you recovery in green, it gets you other great ways to sacrifice stuff in white, and just straight up multicolored cards. Bartolome in white-black is the immediate go-to as just a much better sack outlet than anything that mono black has in its repertoire, not only because it pumps itself up in doing so, but also because it can sacrifice artifacts, and sacrificing additional types of card allows you to add so many other kinds of things into the deck in terms of fueling the deck. But then also in green, once you get into black-green, you can get into the sacrifice decks that are self-perpetuating. You don't just have to use the Forsaken Miner and the crime triggers to pay black and constantly loop them that way. You can play Deadly Brew, which is in Foundations back from Strixhaven, a fantastic card that controls your opponent a little bit while also enabling your dies triggers and bringing permanents back if you want them. You can play Vinereap Mentor, which is just absolutely one of the best black sack cards if you can sacrifice non-creature permanents, because it is 3 rectangles for the cost of 1 card and only 2 mana, and also it's just a 3/2 for 2 mana, which means that it is a threat that your opponents have to respect and deal with, even if you're not feeding it to Sephiroth on the following turn, which maybe you shouldn't, because it's a 3/2 that you can attack with. That's what we keep it for. And then we have an extra. Oh, you love to see it. Pay 2 life. Turn on all of these. And yes, we can do this. We sacrifice the treasure. And we save it. Number 4 is finding a second big threat, a big build around, a big play around for you to add to the deck. I've built a deck that's basically just Sephiroth and Rottenmouth Viper. They want to play enough of the same cards that it makes the deck really, really easy. Like, I want Greedy Freebooters, I want Infestation Sage, I want Not Dead After All. And then also, it made me realize that Spiteful Hexmage is great, Scavenger's Talent is great, and ultimately, I just ended up with basically the same deck as the Sephiroth deck, but also I could turbo out a Rottenmouth Viper. The important thing here is that this is a distinct thing from playing a second color. Playing a second color can be a way for you to get another big threat, a big build around into the deck, but it's not necessarily the case. You can think of each of your big build arounds as being the build around and then a bunch of cards supporting it, and you can maybe fit 2 build arounds in a 60 card deck and then the cards supporting it. Usually 1 big build around and then the stuff to support it is about sort of 60 to 80% of a deck. So if you can get 2 big build arounds that have overlap, you can get a really neat 100%. These cards in the middle here are flex cards that can go in either direction, and then you've got cards for 1 build around and cards for the other build around. Carrot cake. Turn 3 Felothar. Don't hate it. I don't hate it. Ooh, okay. This is going to be bad for me. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can dig to some removal. This is not ideal, but it's much harder to attack into. And finally, at the top of our list of sort of slightly more complicated things that you can do to make your Sephiroth deck just that little bit better without changing the heart, is picking a lane. Making the best use of Sephiroth is really about using all of the card. And it is clear with a card like Sephiroth that you need to commit to either it being a regular, slow value engine that you're not going to flip, or you need to be focusing on turboing that flip out and getting that emblem as soon as possible. And picking one of these two modes to build your deck in and have a game plan is just so incredibly helpful for actually winning games. It makes every part of your game actually building towards building an unstoppable advantage and actually approaching something resembling a competitive deck. The two real examples that I want to give are if you're turboing out Sephiroth and trying to just have a bunch of creatures and flip it all at once really quickly, is 0 Point Ballad, a new, honestly pretty bad board sweeper from Edge of Eternities, but is incredibly good when used at X is 1 to just clear all of your 1/1s, all of your opponent's 1/1s. You can notch it up to X's 2 if you need to clear out your opponent's life gain triggers, your opponent's chocobos, that sort of thing. It is a card that I talked down in my video with Sam, and honestly, having played it, it feels terrible. But this is one of those situations where you're like, I have a specific goal that I want for this slot in my deck, and 0 Point Ballad actually is going to do that job. The other option is going incredibly slow, building a deck that is meant to grind out, and then using Sephiroth as a value enabler. In that case, you want cards like Demon Wall, but also, if you're gonna spend some more wild cards, Liliana Dreadhorde General is just an absolutely incredible card. If Sephiroth and Liliana are your two big payoffs, then you're gonna have a good time. And additionally, if you get into a situation where you have 2 spare creatures and your opponent has 2 creatures on the board, Liliana can just minus and cause 4 creatures to die and immediately flip Sephiroth, which is fantastic. And you want in a controlling type deck to be able to be like, cool, I do the thing and the thing happens. So there you have 5 very straightforward ways for you to improve your Sephiroth deck, starting with a bit of protection, going up to a bit of removal, then a whole second color if you have the cards, your Bartolome, your Vinereap Mentor, then finding your second big payoff, Rottenmouth Viper, Liliana, and finally picking your lane, really sitting down, working out in the deck building process, what are my turns going to look like? What is my game plan? Am I going fast? Am I going slow? Because when you have a game plan, you're going to win games. Thank you for watching. My name is Michael the Gathering. Leave a comment with what you thought of the changes, which ones you're going to use, which alternatives to what I've proposed you think that people would love to see. Like and subscribe to see a short every day with every rare and mythic for every new standard set, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, I guess if I get a green source. Ooh. Alright, pay 2 life. Infestation Sage. Oh. Ugh. Okay, I guess we're gonna pay 2 life Carrot Cake. Turn 3 Felothar? Don't hate it. I don't hate it. Ooh, okay, this is gonna be bad for me. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can dig to some removal. This is not ideal, but it's much harder to attack into. Yeah. See, now if you want to attack with the Arabella, it's going to force you to protect it in some way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Oh. You could have kept the Arabella. So we could go Hexmage into Felothar. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Hexmage into Sephiroth. Do we go Sephiroth into Not Dead after all? If we assume they have some side of removal, we need to go Sephiroth. Okay. We'll hold up the Not Dead after all. Okay. Any target? Target creature. Okay. So we get to Not Dead after all. If I sack this and you attack with both, with all four of those, I can block them. Do it. Go for lethal. Go for lethal. Do it. Do it. Yes! No, come on! No! No! Sweet. Okay. Huh. We're still alive, right? Yeah, we're fine. We're fine! Yeah, we're fine. Okay, okay. Felothar sacking that into Servondum. That one. And then Felothar again. Attack with both. Sack Felothar. I don't know that this is good. Oh wait, I could sack this Servandum. Wait, is that good? I think that's good. Does that get us 4? That gets us 4. That's amazing. Not what I meant to have happen. Oh, I cooked. Oh, okay. Okay, we found it. We found it. We found the thing.